You're watching MMA Oddsbreaker. I'm Frank Trigg. That is Adam McDonough getting ready to fight Nathan Coy coming up here in Bellator, April 11th, up in the Pechanga Resort and Casino in Temecula, California. As always, I start talking to the fighters before we start interviewing, and Adam and I got in a good conversation. Most of you guys at home don't realize that we have lives besides fighting, like other stuff that goes on. Adam got married in July. It is now March, and you haven't had a honeymoon yet because of.
Well, I've been fighting quite a bit here. They've been keeping me busy here the last 7 months.
You had a wedding night, and then you went right into training camp. Is that right?
Yeah, literally. I had wedding was July 20th, and then I fought exactly 8 weeks later, September 20th in Phoenix, Arizona. So I was kind of pretty much in training camp going into the wedding.
So how'd that work out then for, you're supposed to have drinks with your best friend, your best man, and supposed to hang out and do all that, and you're like, guys, dude, I gotta train at 6 a.m. I gotta go. Like it's wrap it up, wrap this thing up. It's time for bed.
Right. Well, fortunately, as you of all people know, Frank, it's a long road to get to where we're at. And fortunately, the friends that were in the wedding and my wife as well have been around for a long time. So they're accustomed to me being in training camp and, sober cabin instead of having those drinks. And as you know, those are some of the sacrifices that we're willing to make. So.
Well, the assumption is with a last name like McDonough, you're going to Ireland for your honeymoon at some point, right? Is it gonna, when is it going to happen? When are you finally going to have a honeymoon?
Well, it kind of depends, to be honest with you. Me and the wife would love to have an addition to our family here shortly. If I wasn't in training camps, getting home at 10 o'clock at night every night. And then, and then this tournament, they're keeping me really busy. So I'm in constant camp. So we'll just kind of have to see. I was hoping early this summer, but we'll see how it all shakes out, and we'll get there hopefully this year yet.
Well, the good thing about getting to Ireland, specifically Dublin, I spend a lot of time. I'm not a lot of time. I do go to Dublin quite a bit. Usually around March 17th for like 4 or 5 days because it's the best time to be over there. Just kind of how it works out. My brothers all live overseas. We all kind of meet in the middle, which Dublin ended up being the middle space for us. It's really easy to get over there. It's not that difficult, and really, tournament's done. You're the champ, and you go like, "Hey, I got a couple weeks off. I'm free. I can actually buy the ticket now and schedule it, and it's not gonna be that bad." Some places, last minute tickets trying to get over there, you're like, "Dude, there's no way it's gonna happen." But trying to go to Dublin, it's not that bad at all. So it won't cost you too much having to wait for too long.
Right. Yeah, that'll be nice. I fought in Chicago a couple weeks ago here, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But Chicago's well known for their St. Patty's Day celebration, and me being a McDonough and as Irish as it gets, me and the wife and a bunch of friends and family actually stayed in Chicago. The next day they dye the river green. Yep. I wasn't partaking in any libations, but I did, enjoy the sights and scenery and get to walk around and experience St. Patty's Day.
Do you not drink at all, or is it just because you're in constant training camp you're not drinking right now?
No, I drink once in a while, but right now I'm getting to that point where I'm really starting to understand, what treating your body appropriately can do for you as an athlete. Unfortunately, it takes a little bit of time. You're kind of naive to that. I'm sure you went through that stage. I'm 28 years old now. I training adequately throughout the entire year is probably where I need to be instead of taking that month or two off to try to have a normal life. And, it's hard to do at this point. It's just easier to stay consistent and be a better athlete.
What is normal, though? I mean, everyone talks about this normal life. You're not the only athlete that I've talked to in any sport. It's like, yeah, I want to lead a normal life. But we're extraordinary for a reason. This is the reason why we became professional athletes, the reason why we're able to be professional fighters, because we're extraordinary. So there is no ordinary for us. We have to do certain things that people just don't get. One of them is not drinking when everyone else is drinking. One of them is having to eat. We can't eat white rice. We only eat brown rice. It's like whatever our thing is. Look, I got to train tonight, guys. I'm sorry you're going to the movies with your girlfriends and your wives. I'm sorry you're going to go out and hang out all night. I got to train at 7 a.m. I got to be in bed at 10 o'clock. This is how it's going to work. It's like we're on a different cycle, but it's the same thing as if a guy's an exceptional plumber. I have no idea what the hell he's doing underneath the sink. I have no idea what the hell he's doing outside. So he's doing something that I have no understanding about. And he's like, yeah, dude, I can't. It's just this wrench or this thing. Like, I don't get what he's doing. So it's the same thing for us, in my opinion, that it is ordinary. This is an ordinary life. You're not drinking on St. Patty's Day in Chicago by the Green River after you beat Jesse Juarez. That's normal. That is a normal life. That is how you have to survive, especially because you're 10-0. You want to maintain that winning streak.
Yeah, and I tell you, it's kind of funny. One of my best friends, UFC fighter Tony Martin, and I were driving down I travel about an hour and a half, 3 days a week to my kickboxing coach, and we were driving in the car, and he's getting married here coming up, and he's trying to schedule his next UFC fight so he can kind of schedule it around the wedding and whatnot. And I said, well, when life gets a little bit normal, we'll try to do this, this, and this. And he looked at me and said, brother, this is normal.
Sure.
And I'm like, yeah, you're right. This is normal for us. I mean, it is, and I agree with you. I don't really care, what trade or craft you're in. I just think, when you're able to have passion for something, you're willing to give it your all. You're willing to make sacrifices, and at the end of the day, we're all trying to do the same thing. We're trying to build a legacy. We're trying to put food on the table for our families. We're trying to be the best competitors that we can be. So.
And it's tough because it is a constant hustle. Also, folks at home don't realize that we are constantly hustling the next fight. And in Bellator, it's a tougher situation because I believe in some of the other organizations, if you talk a good enough game and you raise enough hell, they'll put you in a great fight and give you a good payday because you sell butts in the seats because you can just talk your way into it. You have entertainment value. Bellator's tournament fashion is win or lose. You're either coming home holding your shield or you're on it. And that's all there is to it. There is no middle ground. There is no talking a better game. The best guy that night wins. That guy moves forward. The other guy goes home. End of story. That's really difficult for guys, especially a guy like you. You're going to go in there and fight. You're going to go in there and do the best job you can. And if it goes to a decision, you could win, you could lose, depending on the judges that are sitting there. It's the same for everybody. But you're not a trash talker. You're not an entertainment value guy. You're very humble, very respectful. You're the new crop of gentlemen that's actually kind of swarmed into MMA now, where we've kind of had that. The very beginning, we had the thugs. I'm kicking everybody's ass off the bar stool. It went to the educated guys, which was my era with Couture and Henderson, and Henderson's still in it, but my era of guys that were college educated. And then kind of for a second there, it got really weird, where everybody was, just bowing up and fingering off everybody, and it was at the whole game. But now it's that gentleman's mindset that's coming in now, this new generation that you're part of. Is it difficult for you sometimes to fight for Bellator and go, if I lose, I'm kind of going to be left behind because I don't have that big trash talking game to kind of make them want to put me in another super fight? Does that bother you sometimes that you can see in other organizations guys are getting big fights just because they talk their way into it?
Yeah, that's what I love about the Bellator structure, though. Bellator has been extremely good to me, and they've lived up to everything that they've said. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm not the most entertaining in terms of, I'm not going to talk my way into anything. I let my actions in the cage do the talking for me. I've got nothing but respect for the competitors out there, and honestly, I get a little bit irritated when some of the perceptions are, there are definitely some competitors out there that are giving off the wrong perceptions. And for a guy like myself, I spent a great investment to get a college degree and, hold a full-time career as well with a Fortune 300 company. So it's something that I pride myself in as far as just being a competitor, going in and doing what I love to do, what I'm passionate about. As far as, Bellator not being interested in me, I don't know. Win, lose, or draw, I think I'm there to put on a performance. I didn't get a finish in my last fight. I wasn't really that impressed with my performance. That is not to say Jesse Juarez is not a great competitor. I think he's a phenomenal competitor, but I come to finish fights. That's one thing I will say. I've got a lot of finishes on my record for a reason. This is my 15th fight now. They've got me at 10-0. I'm 14-0, but whatever. I'm sure you've got 100 unsanctioned fights in there too, so you know how that goes. But
I'm old. When it was unsanctioned, they're still illegal. No idea what you're talking about. No clue.
That's in the way there. But yeah, that's I got animals running around here, so. But I'm not too worried about it, Frank. As you pointed out, I like to stay humble and keep the respect and show my opponents that respect, because at the end of the day, I know they're out there busting their ass. I know what they're going through, man. I can relate, and I know it's a dog eat dog world out there. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you if things don't work out. The net income of a fighter is not great once you take in the revenue may look good sometimes, but even the top level guys, when you minus all those expenses and taxes and everything else, your net income it dwindles quickly. So we're out here grinding, and we're doing it because we love it. We're doing it for the passion of the sport. So
my net income for when you see whatever you get from the commission, just for the people at home, that you get, you see that number, whatever that number is, cut it in half. That's
right.
what they're taking home, and then take taxes out of that half. That's basically what it is. So you're basically coming home with about 33% of whatever you made is what you get to go home with. And in most
Right.
cases, that's like 2 months worth of living. Like, oh, great, I get to live for 2 more months. All right. Oh, wait, my training camp is not okay. Great. So I'm right back into it again. It's just how it goes. I do want to back up for a minute though. First, your fight against Jesse Juarez was great. Okay, that was in Bellator 112. He's a very difficult guy to finish. I wrestled with him when I was living in California years ago. He's a very, very tough character. Very tough. So he's a tough guy to finish. But your finish over Johnny Buck back at Bellator 100, spinning back kick, right into punches, that was an amazing knockout. Like, that was incredible, and you caught him at the right time. So you are exciting as a fighter. You have that flash where you crush guys sometimes. It's just, matchups make it difficult. And that's what happened with Jesse Juarez. So don't sell yourself short that you're not happy with your performance. You did a great job against a very tough guy and still had an exciting fight, even though it went all 3 rounds.
That means a lot coming from you too, Frank. But, one thing, Jesse did something that had never been done to me before, and that's win a round. And, I still am a relatively inexperienced young, call me an up-and-comer, call me what you want. But, Jesse won that first round. I think mentally I got a little bit off my game plan. I started thinking I really need to win rounds. And it kind of, got me into that grappling match that I wasn't planning on getting into. He wasn't a big fan of the stand-up from what, I was experiencing or, rewatching the replays and seeing him, with the leg kicks falling down and whatnot. There were several opportunities. I had him in front headlocks. Could have stood it up, but again, I completely agree with you. Jesse's an incredible fighter. 5-0 in Bellator, phenomenal record. He was taking Lima, to the cleaners there for 3 rounds, and then got triangle. So I had watched a lot of tape on him. I only got a 5-day notice for that fight. Well, I knew I was fighting, but I was supposed to fight Mark Scanlon, UFC vet from Liverpool, England. So. I'm not disappointed per se. I just, like I said, that's where I can be exciting. That gives me my opportunity to sell myself to Bellator because I know, I'm not going to be the most exciting at the press conference or in the interviews and whatnot. Hopefully, like you said, the new breed will come out, and that's the types of fighters that they want to be putting out in front of Spike TV and showing professionalism and a love for the sport.
I've got young kids, and my kids, it's more important for me for them to like role models and it's for them to like entertainers. I want them to look up to somebody, and go, I want to be like that guy. If I ever become an athlete, I'm going to be like that guy in whatever sport they're in. I want to have a role model, not an entertainer. I think for a while they were worrying about being entertainment too much, and it kind of hurt us as a whole. But that's just one father's opinion. Who the hell? I mean, at the end of the day, when every weekend there's a fight on, something's going right. Something's happening that's correct because everyone wants to see it, so we know something's going right. Last question before I lay out of here, Adam. You said you work for a Fortune 300 company, and you still have a full-time job, even though you're fighting in the tournament?
Yes, sir.
What job?
I'm a manager for C.H. Robinson Worldwide. We're the largest third-party logistics company in the world. So basically, we're a supply chain consulting and management company. So we basically work with shippers and carriers across the country, marrying up freight opportunities, and we've got a global platform. So we're working with companies all over the world from a technology, people, process standpoint, helping anything from cost reduction to efficiency, productivity gains within inside of their supply chains.
Oh, wow. Is that what you went to school for? Is that what you...
Finance and economics. Yep. I grew up in the transportation world. My dad owns McDonough Truck Line, which is a fairly large LTL.
Holy crap, that's your dad?
Yep.
I see those trucks all the time. I drive back and forth to LA and between LA and Vegas every week. I have to, because my acting and stunt work is in LA and everything else is here in Vegas, especially my kids. I see McDonough on the road all the time. I had no idea that was your family.
Yep, the green and white trucks. Yeah. So, so I grew up in the industry and didn't really, I thought I was going to go in more of a financial advisor type role, but I fell into this career, and honestly, I wouldn't be. It's another thing, Frank, where I feel extremely fortunate because I wouldn't be doing it if I wasn't incredibly passionate. I've got an opportunity where I probably could fight full time if I wanted to, but as we talked about the net income of a fighter, coupled with married, and I want to, like I said, expand on the family, and this gives me an opportunity to really just put some food on the table for my kids, and really, MMA allows me to hopefully write a legacy for my kids on what hard work and determination will do for you. And, nothing in this world is entitled. Everybody just seems entitled to something these days. And that kind of ticks me off a little bit. I've worked and earned everything that I've ever gotten. And, I want to continue it to be that way because I appreciate it. And, I'm passionate about it. So,
Adam, thanks for coming out here to MMA Oddsbreaker. It was twice as long as I wanted to be, but it was the first time we got to speak, and you had so much good stuff to say, I had to keep you on. So,
absolutely. Hey, I appreciate it, Frank.
Good luck with Nathan Coy. That's Adam McDonough's getting ready to fight Nathan Coy coming up on April 11th at Bellator in Temecula, California. Of course, can be seen live on Spike TV. Good luck, Adam. We'll talk to you soon, bud.
Hey, appreciate it, Frank. Take care.